Good morning. Good morning, and thank you very much to Regione Puglia and Distretto for the kind invitation to present here today the Clean Aviation program. It's a pleasure being here today in this very important European event on aerospace. Our ambitions today is to give you an opportunity to focus on a very important European, national, and regional topic, which is a sustainable aviation. We heard today in the previous panels about the importance of the aerospace sector in Europe. We heard about many interesting ongoing initiatives. I don't know if the mic stopped working. Yeah, I think it's okay. So I think that it's really important that we try to give a focus also on what's going on in Europe in terms of supporting the transition of the aviation sector towards the climate goals. I'm sure you may have heard about the Green Deal targets. You know how ambitious is Europe in pushing industry and the full ecosystem to meet the Green Deal targets, 2035 and 2050 in terms of reaching a full decarbonization of the aviation sector. And as you know, there are intermediate targets that are being set by the European Union by 2030. There are a lot of discussions ongoing, as you know, also in the context of the European elections. We are coming with my colleague Daniele Violato from Brussels. We know that Brussels may look very far from regions. This is why we are trying also to outreach regional stakeholders, regional ecosystem, regional clusters. And in this action, the role of the regional authorities is extremely important. And I really would like to thank Regione Puglia for a very active contribution on this action plan. I would like just to give you a snapshot of how important is civil aviation for Europe. We are talking about a strategic sector for Europe, which is supporting more than 13.5 million jobs in Europe. It's a very important sector that is contributing to European growth, competitiveness, and our welfare. Just think that aviation is equal to more than 4% of European GDP. And of course, aviation is a highly innovative sector. And it's extremely important that we keep passing the message that it's very, very important to invest in research, innovation, disruptive technologies, and development, especially if we want to ensure that Europe keeps a leadership role at global level on the aviation sector. I'm trying to now move to the next slides. So we really believe that it's extremely important to invest into research now because, as you know, aviation, in particular civil aviation, has a very long cycle from research to product development. And together with our team in Brussels, I can tell you that it is our obligation and duty to keep this message always very, very visible when we discuss programs, funding, strategies with our colleagues from the European Commission, with the member states, the European Parliament, because it's still not so evident that aviation has true specificities, especially when you go in terms of investing into research and what is the outlook in terms of realizing a contract product development, because this is what, of course, Europe would like to see. Market uptake of new technologies, new aircraft taking flight, new market opportunities. So it's really important that we always keep in mind that this is a specific life cycle in aeronautics, which is extremely important. And we keep passing constantly this message when we discuss about new legislation, new programs, and new framework to support the aviation sector. In terms of how, let's say, the European Union, but as well member states, see the transition to climate goals, this is not an easy challenge. This is not going to be easy. We are all aware, but there is a strong commitment from the industry, from the aviation sector, to reach the climate goals. It's extremely important to understand that you will not go through this huge challenge if you are not investing in a mix of solutions, and as you see from this graph that is based on a very aggressive scenario from ATAC, the solution is not a single solution. What we do at the European Union level through the Clean Aviation program is to invest heavily on research, innovation, and technology developments, because these are going to have an impact of more than 34% in terms of supporting the transition of the sector towards the climate goals. But technologies is not a single solution. We also need to work heavily on ATM, air traffic management, and operations, because this is going to count around 70% in terms, again, of transitioning the sector towards the climate goals. And as you know, a very important push is expected to come through the deployment and upscaling production of sustainable aviation fuel, on which, as you know, there are many, many interesting initiatives ongoing at the European level in order to boost the production of SAF and really to, I would say, have a European strategy on upscaling the production of SAF at the member states and regional level. And you know that we are aware that in Puglia there are lots also of interesting initiatives going on. As well as market-based measures, regulatory framework, these are going to be essential ingredients in order to support the sector in this very important challenge. Ambition with this slide is to give you a snapshot of what we are. Clean Aviation is a very important European partnership. It has been established a couple of years ago, but this is the successor of very two important and successful programs. We had Clean Sky and Clean Sky 2, which have seen a tremendous leadership from Italy, in particular through its industrial leaders. And the good, I would say, results being achieved currently under Clean Sky 2 are going to be continued and extended in terms of ambition under the Clean Aviation program. Clean Aviation is a program of 4 billion euro in terms of budget, in terms of overall level of investments, with 1.7 billion coming from Horizon Europe in terms of funding for research. The concrete objectives are, I think, clearly shown on these slides. We are aiming to support the new generation of aircraft. We are looking at entry into service by 2035. So we are really pushing the sector to look at the skip generation approach in terms of ensuring the deployment and change of the fleet by 2050. You see the climate goals are very clear, minus 30% in terms of greenhouse emission reduction, as well as contributing to a progressive change of the fleet by 2050, while targeting primarily, as I said a moment ago, 2035 as the entry into service of the new generation of green aircraft. This is not going to be easy. This requires a huge level of public and private investment. This is why in our program we are really focusing mostly on the area of short and medium range aircraft concept. We are talking about Airbus A320, A321, just to give you an example, and on the hybrid electric aircraft concept on the regional segment level, because based on economics and study, these are the two segments that are going, of course, to give a real push in terms of cutting emission at global level. There have been very recent studies and communications from last week indicating that the air traffic in Europe and globally is going to increase dramatically, drastically. People are back, flying, and there is an outlook that indicates that basically, the air traffic just going basically to increase in the coming years. This is why it's extremely important to consider aviation as one of the key sectors that needs really to be part of the solution to decarbonize. I haven't mentioned the third thrust of our program, which is the H2-powered aircraft. This is the area related to hydrogen. This is where we are going to basically work on hydrogen technologies. It's a transversal area of our program, which is very promising. In terms of Clean Aviation program, I'm sure that many of you are already involved into European programs. I'm aware that European programs sometimes look too complex. it looks like two-time investments. They look too complex in terms of outreaching, especially small and medium enterprise. I think that Clean Aviation is a tremendous example of a successful program for Italy, because Italy has been a leader in Clean Sky 2, and is a strong leader in clean aviation, in particular through the strong industrial leadership by Leonardo, by Avio, and by the important participation also of our national aerospace institute, CIRA, as well as a number of universities and highly innovative SMEs. In particular, Italy is a very important structure in terms of giving a strategic orientation to the program, in particular through the industrial leadership of Leonardo and Avio, as well as important contribution also by Piaggio. But as you see, the membership is very diversified. We have industry, we have research organization, we have academia, we have SMEs. The ambition is to outreach additional competencies, to outreach additional capabilities that will be needed to support the sustainable aviation towards its decarbonization journey. This is not easy. We are looking for competencies. We are looking for strong capabilities. So this is not a program for everyone, but I'm sure that by talking also and coming to see the regional cluster, talking to companies, I'm sure that we are missing also here in Puglia potentially some interesting competencies that could be brought on board on the Clean Aviation program. It's important just, and then I will hand over to my colleague, Ingegnere Violato, to give a snapshot on the technologies. I just would like to share with you a little bit what's going on in terms of calls for proposals and funding availability in Europe. We have invested almost 50% of our budget in what we call the phase one of our project. We have launched a very important number of projects, large-scale projects. We are not talking about small projects. We are really talking about large-scale projects that basically started a couple of years ago. Now we are in a phase of down-selecting the technologies that basically will be continued in the phase 2 of the program. What we are aiming at now is to prepare the next call for proposals. We are working in particular now the preparation of a very important call for proposal that will be launched at the beginning of 2025. So now we are doing a technology gap analysis and assessment in order to define this next call that is going to be very important in terms of funding, in terms of overall level of resources that we would like to, I would say, push to the markets. So my, I would say, message to you is please be connected to the European program. Please use our presence today, and we will have also a momentum in which we will be talking to the cluster, to a number of local leaders from different segments, because our presence here today is really to try to establish a regular connection with the regional authorities, in particular with the region Puglia, because the ambition is really to better connect those regions who are heavily investing into aerospace and are interested in investing in sustainable aviation. It's extremely important that we look at this program as an opportunity for the cluster, for the local companies to evolve in their competencies and capabilities, because clearly new competencies are needed to meet the sustainable aviation goals. And we are here today to allow you to connect to our program and also to try to establish a formal cooperation through the region Puglia in order to push also regional stakeholders to be more active on the European programs through the different initiatives also ongoing at your regional level. I'd like to thank you for your attention. I will hand over now to Daniele Violato, who is going to tell you a little bit more in detail on technology focus and also on what we are doing in particular with the best aeronautics region in Europe in terms of working on a more integrated approach. Thank you very much. Please, Daniele.
Good morning, everybody. Daniele Violato. Thank you, Bruno, for the eloquent introduction. We have, in fact, been already a set of projects ongoing as funded by the Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking with strong actions from our members. What you see here In the next couple of slides are snapshots of what type of projects we have in our pipeline. We are focusing on the key disruptive innovations for the next generation of hybrid electric regional aircraft. This is what you will see in terms of activities at project names, and you see Italy being participating in several of them. We got strong leadership by Leonardo, who is being actually the leader of the HERA project, which is actually developing a new architecture of regional aircraft. And at the level of systems, at the level of propulsion system, of thermal management, at the level of liquid hydrogen storage, if hydrogen is being used for as a fuel, there are several set of projects. These are all projects of the size of 10 to 50 to 60 million euros only in EU funding, topped up by in-kind contributions of the level matching up the public funding and going beyond with a factor of 1.5. Not only we are looking at the hybrid electric regional segment, but also at the short medium range segment with a similar approach, with in this case Airbus leading the SMR aircraft concept development, and several projects of the size from 10 to 100 million euros in public funding to support projects on propulsion, at the level of open rotor architecture, at the level of hydrogen combustion. We have a strong leadership from GE Aviation in that sense, in particular in the IDEA project. And let me recall the strong partnership we have built with the EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency, which is actually part of each of the projects and is actually contributing strategically to the orientation, the strategic orientation of clean aviation. Activities have a relevant footprint on hydrogen architectures in order to develop the next generation of hydrogen-powered aircraft for commercial aviation. Here we have a snapshot in terms of challenges that we are facing, not only developing hydrogen fuel cells that are able to provide power at the level of megawatt scale, but also hydrogen storage, and aspects such as the combustion of hydrogen in turbines. You can see again a strong Italian footprint in all the projects, in several of the projects that we are supporting. Let me now move quickly on my second part of presentation, where I'd like to not only highlight the urgency to act and invest on developing technologies for new aircraft concepts. This is very much on the left-hand side, the intervention area of clean aviation. But also there will be not a sustainable aviation possible if other interventions are not addressed. And therefore it's very important not only to invest in clean technologies for aircraft, but also in infrastructure and sustainable fuels. The challenge of actually supporting the required research and innovation to bring to success the mission of a European sustainable aviation system requires enormous amount of investments. We are working closely with several European initiatives, for example, the Clean Hydrogen Partnership on hydrogen-powered aviation, with the Batteries Partnership for what concerns batteries for aviation. But it's very important, it's of strategic importance that we join forces at the European, national, and regional level. And the regional level is the main driver for us today to be here in Regione Puglia, and to highlight that we need to actually harvest as much as possible resources and capabilities to strategize towards a European ambition that is a regional, national, and European ambition of sustainable aviation. The activities on joining forces with regions is a long story for us in clean aviation. Before with Clean Sky 2 program, where we have strategized partnerships with 18 regions across Europe, and we are now stepping up on a more strategic approach. what we have put forward is an action plan to join forces with key aeronautics regions across Europe. We have initiated the work and relevantly for Italy, teaming up with Piemonte and Campania region, but also going beyond, of course, the Italian borders and Occitania. We have several exchanges ongoing with key aeronautics regions across Europe, such as Hamburg, Andalusia, for an example. And relevantly, this afternoon, we will be sitting together with the regional authorities and what is being launched as the technical table for sustainable aviation of Regione Puglia, that we are glad to take part to see whether there are opportunities for partnering and cooperating. Let me clarify that cooperation that we engage with regions is not at the level simply to sign off papers, agreements, take a nice pictures, but it's about sitting together with a technical approach that joins actually forces on a joint technical roadmap for sustainable aviation. And this is what we are doing with several regions across Europe. This is what we have proposed to Regione Puglia to join forces with, is to agree on a long-term strategy that joins actually not only resources for Regione Puglia in terms of funding, but also to bring the ecosystem of Puglia region with the capabilities at the level of SMEs, at the level of airports, at the level of a major industrial player with footprint in the region, and strategically align on a joint technical roadmap at European level. And key areas of cooperation have been eloquently presented by Bruno before. It's about joining forces to develop the next critical technologies for aircraft, but not only. We will need to have airports being able to operate hydrogen-powered aircraft, hybrid electric regional aircraft, and therefore also the airport ecosystem will need to change. We need to adapt and provide fuels, new sustainable fuels and hydrogen as to power the next generation of aircraft. It's very important that the cooperation is at systemic level. And let me recall this to you all, in fact, because we are looking at aviation necessarily, but we need to include other enablers. And before, from CTNA, Cristina Leone eloquently explained the key role of digitalization. These strategies along hydrogen and hydrogen valleys will be to put at the system for ensuring the transformation towards sustainable aviation. And aspects such as advanced material manufacturing, sustainable manufacturing will be also at stake. I think this is my last concluding slide, and I know I've gone over time. 3 key messages why we consider that a region should actually join and address a global challenge such as transforming the sector is because through the strategic alignment towards European programs, towards European objectives, such as exemplifying clean aviation, the region can have very important benefits. And first of all, will allow the ecosystem at regional level, the regional supply chain, to be exposed to the European leading aviation industry. Is an important opportunity for organizations such as SMEs to be exposed with more potential internationalization, and also to actually take opportunities to contribute to the European agenda and to actually being able to challenge themselves and put forward and develop new skills that are required to transform the sector. My message is actually for those organizations who want to take part is to dare and actually be supported as much as possible through regional funding where available, through national funding where available, and also to come forward and team up with the key players in Europe to take part, hopefully, in next clean aviation projects. Last but not least, skills. I see a lot of young people around this forum, which is very important. We need to train new generations of engineers to transform and integrate in their set of skills also those that are transversal and include not only aeronautics, but also digital aspects and energy challenges related to it.